There is a big difference between aligning people that are within your vision and are going to build it, in between trying to convince people to fit your mold that you're building. The difference is, are you screening them for if they fit what you're looking for, or are you trying to be screened and approved by them? So many of us give away our power. How do we give away our power? By over speaking our power, our value, by trying to self-validate, by trying to validate yourself to that other person. You are actually taking your validation away. Instead, you are just like a card in a deck of cards, okay? There's Ace of Clubs, Ace of Spades, Ace of Hearts, Jack of Spades, Jack of Hearts, Queen of Hearts, Nine of Hearts, all right? There's going to be some matches. Let's say that you're the King of Hearts, all right? And you're searching for other deck of hearts. You might find someone that's a heart and a jack, and you add them to your crew because you guys have that same heart vision. But maybe the jack doesn't agree with your king perspective. And I'm not saying it in terms of a king being better than a jack. It's just a different card in this analogy, right? Or you might be a king of hearts speaking to an ace of spades. Ace of spades is a great card. King of hearts is a great card. But if you think that you're an ace of spades, but you're not, you're a king of hearts, and the ace of spades is not agreeing with you, doesn't vibe with you, doesn't like you, whatever the case may be, you're going to walk away from that thinking that you did something. Thinking that something could have gone better, or even worse. What if you did get a good result out of the situation, and now you're stuck pretending to be an ace of spades instead of a real king of hearts? A lot of us get stuck in that situation right there, where we do have a success with someone that we should have just let go on by, but because we're so attached to validation from other people, once we get it, it's like that abusive relationship that you don't want to let go because you're still getting attention, but you know that if you went through the desert, that you would find a better city, but you're afraid to leave the city that you're at because you don't want to go through the desert. You don't want to go through the time period where you don't have people around you. But newsflash, the people that you have around you are not only the wrong people, but they're taking away the power that you have laying within you, embedded within you. You have to trust your flow. You can get inspiration from other people's flows as well, especially if they're a similar personality to you and you know that it's going to assist you. But very rarely do we run into someone that we can cookie cutter copy. And even if you do, you should add your own twist to it so that you feel like it's yours. You know, it's like stealing someone's joke word for word. You can do it. It's fine. It's even funny to do that sometimes, especially if you don't need to add to it. But if you do that every single time, you don't have a personality anymore. You're just picking up things and mimicking things that you think are going to get you the results you want. Those people aren't acting that way to get a result. Those people are acting that way because that is them. And because they are being them, they are getting results. So for you to get results, you must fully be yourself. If you get results being anything else besides that version of you, all you're going to do is revert back to what you were anyway. We can go through a big change And then a week later, if you aren't still focused on that change, you're going to revert right back to where you were, because that's just how we're made to be. How's it going, brother? So if you don't laser focus in on what you're trying to change, it's not going to change. It's just simply not going to happen. It'd be like if you tried to laser focus in on the gym, right? And you're just reading about it, but you're not working out. You're not going to actually get any gain from your muscles. But also, you don't want to just watch Arnold Schwarzenegger's workouts and copy them because he's, the most well-known in the field or whatever. Or copy David Goggins exactly. You may get aspects from both of their workouts, two completely different approaches, and find your own style for it. Maybe you're training to be a baseball player or a football player, and you don't need to be lifting weights like Arnold. Or maybe you're training to be a bodybuilder like Arnold, and you don't need to be doing what David's doing. So that's one thing, is looking at others and seeing how can I apply what they're already doing. And a lot of times the people that you're vibing with are the same card as you, but they're just a successful version of the card, or they're a variation. So that's how you can figure out what kind of card you genuinely are. Look at the people that you look up and, on YouTube and all that or other stuff that you're naturally, genuinely attracted to. Then you ask yourself, what aspects do I like out of this? And then take that and see that they can do it. They have the mental permission to give themselves permission to act and be that way. Now give yourself mental permission to act and be that way. By pinging off of seeing how they do it, asking yourself what your version of that is, and then trying it. Because you can sit here and theorize all day, but like I said, you'll go right back and revert back in a week. But you are what you repeat. So if you get out there and you start repeating what was in your head, then you will slowly start to change that mental talk. And once you change the mental talk, your identity changes. And once your identity changes, then everything else repeats itself, and it's a whole loop cycle that just gets stronger. It's a flywheel, whether good or bad. The flywheel being for good or for bad means that if you're going out in the world and when you don't get the reaction that you want from someone, and you're in your head going, oh, I shouldn't have said that. Oh, I look stupid. Shouldn't have even done it in the first place. Or you start over validating what that random person just had their opinion of about you. As soon as you start doing that, that flywheel is going to start, your RAS, reticular activation system, is going to start grabbing everything related to it. Our subconscious doesn't care what's true. It just listens to the commands. So if you're going, oh, I sucked, I shouldn't have said it like that, it's going to grab everything about that, and it's going to show you how you are right. If you go, oh, doesn't matter, I'm moving on with my day. If you don't give it attention, your subconscious won't give it attention. That's why you got to give attention to the small wins. And then once you start looking at the small wins, the flywheel starts to pull in other wins. Once you start to pay attention to good ideas, you start to give yourself recognition, the brain will flywheel it and pull everything else in. So just simply ignore what you don't want to grow and laser focus on what you want to grow. Like in yesterday's video, I was talking about auto-suggestion not being a game. It makes a difference in a fighter when he is in a fight and he goes, I got this. I'm going to knock this guy out. Come on. It doesn't matter how tired you are. You have to still give yourself the suggestion, the command. Because if you don't, the moment you don't give yourself a command, the enemy, Satan, the world, whoever, steps right in. Our attention is a throne. And whatever you place, whatever you pay attention to, is what you're placing at the foot of the throne. And as humans, we're made to worship. We will always worship something, whether it be sports that you really like, whether it be music, a band that you really like, a rapper that you really like, or whether it be Jesus and the Heavenly Father. We're made to worship. Our free will, which is the one superpower that God gave us over every other creature, right, determines what we can choose to focus on with our RAS, reticular activation system, and build upon that flywheel. So ask yourself, what are you using that God's superpower that He gave you to magnetically pull towards you? Okay? That's the trickiest part about free will, is that the second you stop using it, the world will step right in and put a command in your brain for you. The marketing, the ads, all the auto suggestions being put into your brain for you. Your friends, if that's why you got to be careful sharing your plans, even with your friends. They don't mean to, but sometimes doubt shows up in logic. So you share the plan before it's ready. You share the seed before it's sprouted. You're digging it out of the dirt to show everyone, and then everyone's going, I don't know if that's going to be a flower, because they don't know. They don't see what you see. Stop taking the seed out of the ground, and just the people who vibe with you will go with you, and you'll drop some along the way. They'll come back sometimes. That's fine. Just realize that's because they don't see the same vision. So you can't let their logical doubt creep into your creative vision, because it's too small of a seed to be taking all that. You got to protect it. You got to take that thought, hold it, and hold it for a long time. And then after you hold it for a long time, it starts to sprout. So many of us have short attention spans and we're putting things down. So hold the thought of who you are trying to become in your head. It's not going to sprout in 1 day, 2 days, or 3 days. Probably not even in 3 weeks. But just like a seed eventually starts to sprout out of the ground and then shoots up, so will this thought if you hold it long enough, water it, give it attention. And if you don't let other people's doubt, logical doubt, creep in, because they don't know what they're talking about. They're not building what you're building. They're not trying to do what you're trying to do. And even if they're doing something similar, it's still not what you're trying to do. So, unless they are literally trying with every fiber of their being to help you, then you intake it. But even if they think they are, they don't know what they're talking about. You barely know what you're talking about, and you're the one that came up with it. So you got to trust the intuition here a little bit. By you speaking about it, you're actually showing lack of faith, because you're looking for their validation. You're looking for them to clap their hands and applaud you for doing well, for coming up with a good idea. What you need to do is all that conversation time spent talking about it, zip them lips and put an hour to work is going to get you closer than 100 conversations about it. So screen other people. Stop trying to get approved by everyone. Instead, search for how they fit into your vibe that you're trying to create. Trust your inner genius. And hold the thought. Hold the thought well. Once you trust yourself that the thought is correct, then you give yourself permission to hold it even when others doubt what you're holding, or they don't know what you're holding because maybe you don't tell them. And soon enough, if you tend to that garden in your mind, the plants will grow. Weeds grow overnight, but a bamboo tree or a mustard seed does not grow overnight. But once it does grow, like a strong oak tree that doesn't grow overnight, this isn't an oak tree, but y'all get what I'm saying, it stays, or at least it's very hard to cut down. So your roots of everything, whether it be confidence, whether it be your literal business, whether it be the beliefs that you stand on, should be on firm, solid rock. And for your personality to be in firm, solid rock, it's going to take experience. It's going to take failing forward, tasting a little bit of what you don't like. And I wouldn't say tough skin, because you can be sensitive in this world. It's good to be sensitive, matter of fact, so we can feel other people's feelings. But it's just understand that it's not personal. Don't take all these punches to your face personally. People are just idiots, and they're not thinking straight. Think of all the times that you weren't thinking straight. And think of all the times that you might have downplayed someone's dream, even a close friend of yours, by logic, like I just explained. So protect your dream. Zip them lips. Get to work. And check out Napoleon Hill auto-suggestion. That'll definitely set your mind straight. Psalms and Proverbs as well in the Bible. Drop a comment what you want me to talk about next. Hit the like button. Helps the algorithm. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And share the video with a friend that needs it. Or share a friend with this video. The video needs it. Peace.